you know, at this point, it reminds me of this incident that one of my friends narrated to me. So he was based out of Hyderabad, and his friend randomly picked a book of mantras and started, you know, doing it, performing it. This book had, of course, you know, all the directions that you're supposed to follow, and the, you know, the number of times you're supposed to chant the mantra and all of that. And he just randomly picked it up and started doing it. And then there was this Devi who appeared before him from another dimension, another loka. And she was not like Lakshmi or Durga or Kali, Saraswati, whom we are familiar with. She was different, you know, just a random Devi. Now, I don't know if it was an Apsara or if it was just a Devi from the Devloka, I don't know. But she started, you know, responding, and she would just appear. And then, of course, he freaked out and he wanted her to go back. But she was so happy being here that she said, you know, I can make you rich and I have so many boons, I can give you boons, and, you know, but I'm happy, I like this plane, I don't want to leave. And she would just appear, you know, at 3 a.m. and she would appear all the time, and he was like petrified. And then, of course, he had to, you know, perform practices and take aid of people, maybe Tantra Vidya, I'm not sure what he did, but finally they had to send her back to her loka. So have you also experienced something like this, or have you heard of something like this?
Well, fortunately, I haven't experienced anything like this, but I've definitely heard about this. Certainly, my mentor Vimalananda was out in the forest at one point, and he heard somebody saying to him, "Meow," meaning, "Shall I come?" And he kept hearing this, "Meow, meow," and he was kind of a short-tempered person. So at some point he lost his patience and said, "Anahanto." And so when he did that, then this thing who was a Yakshini, and a Yakshini is, let's call her a demigod. She entered into his space. Basically, it was kind of like being possessed by her, but not exactly. Because, I mean, possession is where you are actually embodying her or him or whatever it may be. But she was then with him all the time. And he was not able to get rid of her without quite a lot of effort. And I had a friend who has been a yoga teacher for many decades, and he became very interested in the Shiva Tandava Stotra, which was written by Ravana. It's a very beautiful stotra, but it's very strong, and it's for a strong version of Shiva. And he was reciting it, and he was enjoying it, until one day, Bhairava showed up and basically, I mean, not in so many words, asked him what he thought he was doing. And then he had to ask himself what he thought he was doing, because mantra is the incarnation of a devata in verbal form. So you start reciting a mantra, you're basically in your own astral body encouraging the form of that devata to be created. If you don't know who you're inviting, I mean, it's the same sort of thing if you go to the front door and you open it and somebody says they want to come in, and you let them in, you don't know that person, you should not be surprised if something weird happened. It's also useful to remember that just because someone says that he is a deva or she is a devi, how are you going to know? Unless you're already familiar with that deva, you can get somebody who is a Yakshini, or even someone who's not even that advanced, who will say, "I'm a Devi." And are you going to be able to determine the difference between her and a real Devi? Not unless you've already been educated in that direction.